Hello, YouTubers. I'm doing a video because there's been some online controversy regarding a gentleman by the name of James Yeager's discussion of his opinion regarding the 1911 and how he believes that it sucks based on his observations of his students while he's doing his instructor thing at his school. Well, I'm not going to make this video about the 1911 Sucks series by James Yeager to actually you know, talk smack about him or oppose his opinions in any way. As a matter of fact, he might actually have a point, and I'm actually going to take some time today to discuss why he probably saw what he saw, and I'm going to also break down exactly why the 1911 has a reputation of it sucking. Okay, the example you see before you is a Remington 1911 R1 Enhanced. I have personally purchased and used this weapon, so this is not third-party experience that you'll be hearing. This is from me actually shooting and owning this firearm with my own money, shooting my own ammo that I paid money for. And with this firearm, okay, I've never had a single malfunction with this weapon. I've only run probably about 200 rounds through it, so I know the fanboys will probably say that that's not enough to get a qualitative measure of how it works. But I'm going to mention that because um, while I've used this weapon and shot it personally without a single failure, it's always been with that magazine. Okay, and this is a Kimber Tac Mag. This is just one example of many quality magazines that you can buy for the 1911. But I'm not making this video to do a plug for Kimber here. I'm just making note of the magazine because the only time I've ever had a problem with this pistol has been when I was using the magazines that it came in the box with. These no-name Remington marked magazines. Now, you'll see here I have a Beretta 92F magazine sitting over here, and there's a reason why I'm doing that, because it leads into the reason why people believe the 1911 suck. Okay, um, believe it or not, the mag be easy to seat. I was just doing it one-handed, and one-handed while I'm holding the camera is a little awkward. So the reason the 1911 has the reputation it does is because there is no standard manufacturer of magazines. Okay, companies like Remington, Kimber, all these other firms, they'll sit here and they'll make their 1911s and they'll do a great job making the gun. They'll make the pistol reliable, nice frame, nicely fitted parts, great sights, excellent trigger. I'm not going to demonstrate the trigger here because I can't safety check the weapon, but the trigger is great on these. The trigger is great on Kimbers. I mean, they're all quality handguns, and they're expensive. They're 6, 7. This example ran me 800 odd bucks. $8,000, $9,000 and up and away, all the way up to like 2, 3, 4, 5 grand sometimes for these custom build ones. So, the 1911 is a quality handgun, especially if you pick the right company, and that doesn't necessarily have to do with price. Even Rock Islands that are 450, 500 bucks are still tough stuff. So, the problem you come into with these guns malfunctioning is that the companies will spend all their money making the guns. They'll machine the weapons and make them really nice, make the grip safety all nice and blended in, the regular safety and the hammer all cool, and make the bushing nice and tight and the barrel all real good and everything. They'll spend all the money on the gun, and then they'll subcontract their magazines to some cheap, I don't know who knows where, tin foil factory someplace, and they'll put 50-cent 8-round mags in a box and say, yep, that's it. And and I think that causes problems because the magazine is the most crucial part of any semi-automatic firearm. Doesn't matter if you have a Glock, AK-47, AR-15, XD, Beretta, whatever, okay? And if the magazine is junk, your gun is junk. I don't care who makes it. And the Beretta is an excellent topic to illustrate this with because back in, I want to say the late 90s, I don't know exactly when they did this, but the U.S. military subcontracted their magazine for the Beretta 92 series, their military guns anyway, to a company called Checkmate. And usually Checkmate has a good reputation for making good magazines, so it's not strictly a case of them just being a fly-by-night company that made bad mags. The problem that happened though, Checkmate coated their magazines in such a way that the interior of the magazine would trap dirt from the fine particles of desert that were overseas. And Checkmate tested their magazines before they submitted them to the DoD with American, dirt and sand, which is not the same type. So what wound up happening is the interior of the magazine would collect dirt, and then when the mags were loaded, the follower gets stuck and the rounds wouldn't advance. So if you put a checkmate magazine into a gun that was in the Iraqi or the desert environment, the mag follower would freeze up, the gun wouldn't feed the next round, and you'd have a Jam-O-Matic. Okay, um, but if you used a Beretta magazine like this one, okay, the gun would work like a charm regardless. All right, and eventually the DoD and checkmate went back and forth, and it turned out that it was the nature of the sand that was causing the problem. And once, apparently, the story goes that once the military flew a sample of Iraqi sand to the checkmate test labs, they were able to determine that because of the nature of the sand over there being what it was, that's where they found the problem was. Because they tested the magazines here and they didn't have any issues, and suddenly in Iraq they'd have problems. So that just goes to show you that even with a gun like a Beretta 92, if you put a crappy mag in the gun's not going to work. And it's no different with the 1911. And what happens is companies will, they'll try to save money on their sales and on their cost to sell by subcontracting their magazine designs out to third-party companies. Now, just as a note, not every 1911 maker does this, but what generally happens is they'll subcontract their magazines out to a company where I don't even know who makes this magazine, honestly. I know it's not Mec-gar, but what'll happen is you'll get a no-name mag. Okay, you put it in your expensive Remington SIG 1911 or Ruger SR 1911 or custom build or Springfield or whatever, and you'll put it in a gun and it'll work just fine for the first 50, 60, 70, 80 rounds, and then once you get about 100 odd rounds down the pipe, the follower will start to get worn out, or the mag spring will start to get weak because the magazine is just a cut rate version made by some no-name company, so it's not tested to any reliability standards, which means you'll get about 100 rounds out of it, and then you'll start having feed problems. The round won't eject right, or it won't feed properly, or you put the mag in and it won't lock to the rear. You get issues like that, and then what a lot of people will assume is the case is they'll think it's the gun's problem. So they'll send the pistol off to get warranty work done on it. The gun comes back. The company says, yeah, the gun's fine. The customer will shoot it, put the same junky magazine into it, shoot it, has issues. The customer goes, what the hell? The company lied to me, yada, yada, yada. Send the gun back. Company is now like, we don't understand what the problem is. This guy's just crazy because the gun works fine in our lab with quality magazines and quality ammo. They send the gun back to the customer, and money and time's getting wasted, and both parties are getting angry at each other. And it turns out the problem is just this little part right here. Okay? So without quality magazines, every semi-auto, including a 1911, is a freaking paperweight. So the only time I've had a malfunction with this gun, with any 1911, has been with cheap, crappy magazines. I used to own a Rock Island Armory 1911. The only time it broke down and failed on me was when I loaded hollowpoints in the ACT mag it came with. When I put a Kimber tac mag in it, shazam, malfunction cleared. It fed hollowpoints all day. Like magic. And same deal with this gun. When I took it to the range last time, I had a malfunction with this gun where it wouldn't feed a hollow point from this Remington magazine it came with. So I took the mag out. There were 2 rounds left in the mag when it failed to feed, so I took both rounds out of this mag. Alright, both hollow points out of this mag. Put them in this one, which I'd put aside because I'd shot it already that day. Put both rounds into this magazine. Put it in the gun. Chambered it. Fired both rounds without a single malfunction. So, there you have it, okay? Magazines can be it's a crucial factor in how reliable your guns are. If you put a 50-cent magazine into a Glock, AK, whatever, it's gonna jam, okay? I even owned an AR that was like that. I bought a Pro mag for an AR-15 once, put the sucker in, it wouldn't even feed 1 round. And then I used the Colt magazine in the Pro mag, no, not Pro mag, but the Magpul mag it came with in the box, no problems. Only time it ever failed was when I used that cheap little Pro mag magazine in it. So, lesson, okay, if your 1911 sucks, don't send it to the factory right away. Get a Kimber magazine, get a Mec-gar. Mec-gar makes 8-round magazines that are great for this. Chip McCormick also makes good ones. Wilson Combat, have personal experience with those. Get a good quality magazine at your gun store, try it at the range. You might be pleasantly surprised. And your 1911 just might not suck after all. So, straight shooting, Smoke signing off.